Hello, welcome back to the Last Diet Experience. Today, our guest is Aliye Aydin, the soul space chef. We're gonna get into what is a soul space chef? What is a healthy meal? And also, how can you get a healthy meal in a simple way? You're listening to the Last Diet Experience. I'm Lizzy Havitz, and I lost 20 pounds without any typical diet and have effortlessly kept it off since. What I discovered was not just permanent weight loss, but a journey of health, self-love, joy, and personal growth. And I'd like to bring you along so you can do it too. In this podcast, I will share what I did to lose weight and keep it off while never having to count calories, white knuckle hunger, and especially not having to give up my favorite foods. It's definitely not the normal path. Let's dive in. Hi, Aliye. Welcome to the Last Diet Experience. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I
Thanks for
am
having me.
so I'm so curious to know your story because you decided to become a chef, but not just any chef. It was a health supportive chef. Did I get this right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, definitely. Well, it started when I was a teenager. I was 15. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, which was a scary diagnosis at the time. And besides being put on a lot of meds, and this is the 90s, so not as much was known about this type of stuff in the 90s. But one of the things that they told me to do was to adjust the amount of sodium in my diet. They put me on a low sodium diet. So at that time, I mean, I grew up eating pretty healthy foods like home cooked meals and all that for the most part. But I had some high sodium things in my diet like canned soup and lunch meats and stuff like that. So I started looking at ingredients and labels and started making my own meals. So I was like, oh, I can make this canned soup from scratch and let me see what I can do. And once I started following recipes, this is kind of pre-food TV. It was still, cooking shows on public television. There was very little food TV actually. And so there's a lot of cookbooks, and I basically just started to teach myself to cook along with some help from my mom. She had cooked stuff growing up for us. So really just got into cooking because of that. I was trying to make things healthier, and I realized I actually loved the process of cooking. It became a stress reliever for me. I just turned out that I absolutely loved cooking specifically. So I got into it for health, but I discovered that I absolutely love the process. So that's what led me to becoming a chef eventually. I went to culinary school later in my later 20s.
Which, I mean, this emotional or um, just the action of doing something that you love is still part of your health journey. So I
Yes.
think, yeah, it gave
Yeah.
you a lot more than you expected, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I was never really much of a cook growing up. And now that I've started to cook my food from scratch because of the same reasons, you find these canned processed foods and they have ingredients that you don't really need to enjoy the food, but they are needed there to make it shelf stable or presentable. And so if you just want to continue eating the foods you love, just learn to make them yourself. And that's how I got into that. And it's definitely been more than just eating healthier. It's been a repair of my relationship with food. And
Yeah.
therefore, through that,
Absolutely.
with relating to the way that I relate to nurturing my family as well. So it sounds so simple as to just, oh, I just want to eat healthier, but it becomes a ripple effect of other benefits in your overall health, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual and social, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so Soul Space Chef, what's the story behind that name?
Oh, I don't know. It's like the third or fourth business iteration I've had. I've had a lot of names for my businesses.
Hmm.
I'm not really sure. I think I have another account that was more based on travel and spirituality, and that was called Soul Space Traveler. and it
Oh,
still
okay.
is. I still have that. But then when I started to come, I've gone back and forth from having food as a business. I've kind of taken time away and come back. And when I came back to doing food again as a business, I was like, oh, soul space chef. Just because I live life from my soul, and really stating that it's not just about cooking. It's not like easy, yummy meals or, what anything that it
Mm-hmm.
could be. It's about kind of living life, and food is a way that I express myself, and meals are a way that I express myself. So it's really just that connection that I have with food and cooking, and that's where that name comes
Mm-hmm.
from my soul.
Okay,
So
something
that's
totally,
where it came from.
yeah, something totally on the side. So you say you gone back and forth of being a chef. What was the other career that you had? Is it just
I mean, I've always been in food in some way or another, but there was a time couple years ago when I was like, I can't have anything more to do with food. I told everybody I knew I was like quitting cooking. Like, this is it. This is the end. And everybody was like, okay, that interesting. And I didn't do anything very much specifically. Like, I took some spiritual growth classes and I got certified in spiritual literacy and did some other stuff on the side. It was never like the main thing I was doing. I'm also a mom raising a teenager as well, so that was a big part of it too. But
that's a big job?
and then after a while, after I completely dropped food and cooking as a career, I was able to come back to it again, kind of with freshness. But I really had to let it go in order to come back to it as a career and the way that I want to help people while I'm on the planet, type of thing. So
What do you think? What do you think you found in that pause, in that chapter of your life that
wow.
had you come back?
Um, well, I think I had to rediscover my love for it and have it be on my own terms and not what I thought. I mean, this is really going into business now because I present myself as a chef and having worked as a chef and being online as a chef. So it's really like expressing myself in a way that's true to me and not every other person that you see on YouTube or what that person who hears I'm a chef thinks I should be. People hear the word chef and they just automatically put you in a box of some kind and they ask you the same 3 to 5 questions. And I really had to be like, yes, I'm a chef and I cook, but it's about so much more to me. It's about connection. I mean, cooking is really about connection to me, connection to yourself, connection to other people, connection to the food, connection to your health. Like, it's just all about connection. And I really had to sever, might be too strong of a word, but kind of sever that connection for a couple of years. I didn't cook in that period at all. It was like I was allergic to cooking. I was like, I am not
You really
cooking.
took a
I'm not
vacay.
touching. I don't care what's for dinner. Like, whatever. People were like, okay, that's really interesting. And I never thought I'd come back to it. But after a while, I just really started to realize, like, oh no, this is kind of where my zone of genius and where my heart and my soul lies. So that's why I came back to it as something that I'm committed to again.
Which brings more sense to Soul Space Chef. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
exactly.
I like
Exactly.
it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, so your specific niche of um, cooking or of chefry, I don't even know if that's a word, but
Yeah.
of being a chef
It works.
is
Yes.
health supportive. What,
Yes.
well, I'm assuming this goes to healthy meals, healthy cooking.
Yeah.
What is that? What
Yeah.
does that encompass?
Yeah. I mean, from a food perspective, it encompasses whole and real foods. So focusing on foods that are less removed from their source, whole and real foods. On another angle, it focuses not on diet dogma or what you should eat. I think that's a lot of the reason I left doing it in the first place because I felt really stuck in this like should eat, should cook, should present myself as should, and that just got so tiring. I couldn't do it anymore. And I just got to a point where I was like, I don't care about all the shoulds anymore. I just want to cook and eat and enjoy food. So that's the other half of that is that yes, it's about whole and real foods, but it's also about enjoying your meals. Like, it doesn't matter how healthy a meal is. If you don't want to eat it, if you don't enjoy it, if you don't like who you're eating it with, it doesn't really matter. how healthy the food is, because there's so many more aspects to health than just the food that you're putting in your mouth, right? And that's why I say connection. Like, I'm really all about I love the alchemy of cooking, like my hands and everything in the kitchen and the way things come together. And I love shopping for food, and I love those relationships with producers and all that stuff. Other people really like other stuff. And I really love the sensations, like the smells and the tastes and the sounds. All of that is cooking is what brings me back to it. And all that comprises health for me, right? It's not about like, oh, I don't eat cheese, or oh, I don't eat this. Like, there are certain foods that I avoid because I know that I feel better one way or
Hmm.
another, but it's more about like a holistic view of what's on my plate
Hmm.
outside of the exact ingredients, if that makes sense. It's more about what went in to getting it there. And I think overall, that's that's the bigger picture of health. Like, if you can, like I said, you can have everything right on your plate, but if you don't like eating it, if you're not happy getting it there, if you're really stressed out by how it happened, or you're eating foods that maybe like you're not really connected to either culturally, or I don't know, you find them weird, or you just don't like them, or if you're eating something that you think you should be eating, I think that isn't leading to overall big picture health, really.
Mm.
I mean, that being said, you do need to get used to new foods. If you're not used to eating whole and real foods, maybe things are kind of
Right.
different in the beginning. You give yourself a chance, but over time, I keep going back to Middle Eastern and Mediterranean food. I'm half Turkish. That's a lot of what I was raised with. I spent some time in Turkey learning old recipes. That's the stuff that really lights me up. I live in California, so we have that Mediterranean climate. We always have all these beautiful ingredients to play with. So that is what I'm really about. But I think that other people, they have to find that thing that really speaks to them if they want to have a lasting diet or way of eating that will really feed their soul as well as their bellies. So, whatever it may be, if it's certain ingredients, it's certain dishes, it's quickness, it's whatever it is, you have to really find that thing that speaks to your soul that you'll continue to do it. Because you have to enjoy it. Again, you have to enjoy it, or else
Hmm.
you're not going to want to make yourself food. I mean, why? There's so many options out there for getting
Yeah.
food outside of preparing it. Like, there
Yeah.
has to be a deeper connection, I think, for it to keep happening.
I completely agree. There was one doctor that said, "Don't eat when you're angry, and don't eat with people you
Mm,
don't like." There was this
yeah.
experiment that they did with bunnies. I don't know if you've heard of this one, but
Oh, okay.
they had different groups of bunnies, and they were feeding them certain poisons because they wanted them to get
Okay.
a certain disease.
Right.
And they noticed that one group was not really responding the same. And they started to question what was going on. And it turns out that the person that was feeding them wasn't just going in, feeding them, and getting out. The person that was feeding them was taking the time to pet them and be with them, socialize with them, and give them some
Yeah.
attention, give them some love, you know? And so I don't know all the details to the experiment, but they ended up concluding that the way that you are feeling when you're eating also affects how that food is going to process and impact your body.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so yeah,
It's
if
like
you're
getting
not
into the
liking,
parasympathetic state, right? Like, if you want to sit,
mhm,
take a deep breath, let your body know the food's coming so that you will digest it better. Really.
yeah,
If you're eating on the go all the time, you may have stomach issues,
hmm,
or again, if you're eating angry, all these things, your emotions definitely affect all that's going
yeah.
on in that way, for sure.
It could be that if you're not in the state to receiving it, you're not gonna receive it. You're not gonna receive the nutrients for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. It's so true.
Like people know that they want to eat that they should eat healthy or that they want to eat healthy because they
Right.
want the benefits of eating healthy. They know they
Right.
don't want the
Right.
disease, they don't want the pains and aches or chronic ailments or more energy. They know that there's a way to do it and eating healthy is part of it. They want to do it.
Right.
But what is getting in their way? I feel like people complicate it a lot.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
what what is your perspective on that? What do you find with
You want the
people you
honest
work with?
truth?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Let's
blame
get honest.
I blame, again, people thinking what they should be eating. And I think that goes a lot back to social media, food TV. There's so much out there that we're inundated with about what we think our food like should look like and should be. And so many, and this comes off of the fact too that so many people in my life do not want to cook for me because I'm a chef. They're like, "Oh no, I can't have
Mm.
you. I'll have you over for dinner, but I'm just making XYZ, right?" And I'm like, "Awesome. That sounds delicious." And I have to tell them, it's you cooking for me that matters. It's not like the
Mhm.
food you're going to put on my plate. I know you're not going to put some junk on my plate, and it's great. And so they usually relax and are like, "Here's chicken tacos," or whatever it is that they think isn't good enough for a chef. And I think people just need to
Right.
get over that. And that's why I encourage people to start with like ingredients. In my program, I encourage keeping like 3 different proteins on hand, 3 different veggies on hand, the things that are your favorite, and then just learning ways to walk into your kitchen and put them together simply so that you like them, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's not saying you shouldn't try some new recipe that looks exciting or whatever, but I'm talking about like daily, weekly, everyday meals. How do you do
Mhm.
that? You start with the ingredients you like. And you honestly, you cut an onion, you put it in a pan, or you take a piece of chicken, you salt it, you put it in a pan. Like you just start is how you do
Mhm.
it. And it has to be something that you're going to enjoy eating. And like I said, I think people just get really hung up on, I don't know, a lot of food contests are exciting. Cooking contests, shows,
Mhm.
yes, they're very, very exciting. And maybe you'll glean some like cool ideas from that or some inspiration from that. But for the everyday stuff, I think that harms us more than hurts us because we really get in our head about it. I think
Mhm.
that's part of it. And I think the other part is people are confused about what's healthy. You know, things have really
Mhm.
changed over the years in the mainstream from the 90s until now. Like the 90s, fat was demonized and meat was demonized. And, you know, we've really come
Right.
a long way. So I think people are just confused and it makes them like, I don't know, just tell me what to eat. I don't know what I'm supposed to eat anymore. And that's, you know, it's different for everybody, but whole and real
Mhm.
foods are a really good place to start.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think the message that I try to propagate is like, let's expand your food options. I'm not gonna take away your favorites. If you like
Yeah. Right.
burgers and whatnot, you'll keep eating that. But let's expand them how we can
Yeah.
make it, and
Right.
happily make it in a more a healthier way. So just
Right.
think of. I like to think of it expanding the options, and
Yes.
that way you make your own.
Yes. Definitely. We definitely
So
respond well to expansion as humans, not constriction.
yes,
Definitely. Yeah.
it's like world. Well, I'm not in the diet world,
Right.
but I'm kind of in between. And that's what we
Right.
find. There's a lot of restrictions. And when
Yes.
my clients come into the program and they don't see restrictions, they start asking what shouldn't I eat or what should I eat? I'm like, okay, that's not where we're going. We're
Right.
we're going in this different
Right.
direction. We're looking for this balance. We're going to expand, not restrict. And at first they
Yeah.
are very confused, but it is fun because once they get it, they're on a roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Totally.
here's the thing that I hear when I try to expand this world of food. The very first thing that I have them change is the options that they have in their kitchen. So I tell them,
Right.
okay, these are foods that you might want to put in the back, and these are foods that
Right.
you want to put in the front, and
Right.
maybe get a little more creative on this side. Now, a lot of them have their go-tos, and they
Yeah.
don't have they believe they don't have the energy to learn something new. So they get stuck in well,
Exactly.
I just don't know what else to cook, or I don't know what else, or what else is there?
Yeah.
They just have
Yeah.
like this kind of tunnel idea of what cooking is. Or maybe they don't have
Right.
the time. And I think that is where you come in. And especially what
Yeah.
really popped out of the content that I was watching from you is using AI to simplify this process of what to eat and how, or no, what to eat and how to cook it.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. I think it has its place. I mean, like using AI for anything, I don't think you can take it and just copy paste it and expect you're going to have some amazing result. I think you have to know a little bit about what you're looking up so that you can then cull what is good and what isn't good. And this specifically goes with cooking. Like I've tried just feeding into a general chat GPT, like, give me 3 recipes, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to see like that, give me
Hmm.
30 grams of protein and whatever. I don't
Oh,
use it.
wow.
I have so many recipes of my own cultivated over the years without AI that I don't really need to use it. Find AI really good for organizational stuff. But
Okay.
just give me what you have. So it would give me recipes, and I'd be looking through the recipes, and I'm like, these are fine. But then I could see, oh, if you cook it this way, it's going to be dry, and oh, this is way too much oil. That's not going to be good. Like where AI is pulling from is just all the other recipes out there, right? And you don't
Hmm.
know if those are good, if those are bad, and if you don't know the basics of cooking, like really basics, you're not going to be able to look at that and go, oh, that's not going to work, or oh, that doesn't taste good, or and that's why I think it's really important to have like a just a base of cooking knowledge to be able to
Hmm.
start to know what's going to be good and what's not going to be good. Like this is just an example. Like chicken breast
Hmm.
is naturally a very tender cut of meat, right? It tends to be kind of dry because people tend to overcook it because they don't understand that it's a very tender cut of meat and you don't want to cook it for hours and hours and hours. You want to cook it for a short amount of time. You want to cook it exactly to the right temperature, and then you're always going to have a perfectly cooked chicken breast. And it's not hard. You just have to know. And it's not about the perfect recipe because there's a
Hmm.
billion recipes out there that do it in a way that I personally find very wrong. So once you know the like very much the very simple technique and what you're looking for, that's when the magic really starts to open. You can even then look at recipes say that you get on AI and you're like, "Oh, hey, I really like this these flavor ideas, but I can see here the way they're cooking it here it's really going to dry it out. So I'm going to cook it the way I know how to cook it, the way
Hmm.
Aliye taught me how to cook it."
Yeah.
And it's going to turn out perfectly moist every single time, right? So AI can be good, I think, for giving you new ideas and for organizing and meal planning. Say you're like, hey, I need 3 recipes this week and I can only cook Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I need to skip this day and this. Like, that's what AI to me is
Mm.
amazing for, is that organizational thing when your brain doesn't want to turn on. But in
Hmm.
terms of the exact, like, giving you a good recipe, I think that's really, really hit or miss because there's so
Hmm.
much out there that it's pulling from you don't know unless you can recognize it if what it gives you is going to be good or not. Like
Mm.
create a dish that's really good. I don't use it for recipes because I have all my own stuff in my head and what
Hmm.
I see, my chef brain just goes to work, but I use it for organizational meal prep and planning and all that. And that super helpful for super duper.
All right.
Like if you're overwhelmed by prepping and planning and all that, that's the way to go,
It helps with
definitely.
that. I've used it for recipes in a way that, first of all, I consider myself bad at following recipes because I'll see the
Right,
recipe and I get an idea of it, and then I do my own thing.
right.
Again,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
I'm doing the
great.
same thing, like just going with what I already know I like and what works best.
Right,
Um,
right,
and it's really hard when someone asks me like, "How do you do this?" I'm like, "Well, you just
right.
do it." It's really
You
hard to
just do
explain
it. Right,
because
I know.
I don't
I
know
know.
exactly the timings. I calculate the timing depending on, I don't know, the
Right,
bulk of the food, or there's enough
right,
variables to not have a specific
right.
number. And
Yeah,
then, but I have used it to let it know, like, I'm cooking like a
right.
couple months ago. I was cooking banana bread for the first time, and I had 2 bananas. And I said, okay, I have this, I have that, I have this ingredients, and I'm gonna use this machine. So I have a bread machine. Like tell me
Right,
how to use it because I don't even use that machine. It
right.
was it was to let me know how I can make this bread with the
Yeah,
ingredients that I had using the machine that I've never used. And
yes.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Another way that I've used it was to get the rest of recipes that I liked and tweaked and just kind of organize the recipe in a more easier way to follow. Because I kind
Oh,
of
that's
brain
interesting.
dump it in.
Yeah.
I kind of brain dump it in.
Yeah.
And then by brain dump it in, it's like I'm describing what I do. And then it
Right.
organizes it in like ingredients and then steps.
So
So,
it's
and then I
writing a
print that.
recipe for you,
Yeah.
okay, to give to other people type of thing?
Once
Because
I
if you already have
know,
it in your head, yeah,
right. Once I know, I just need to kind of refresh what the ingredients are. So usually I'll just go
right,
check on the ingredients and then and then re- and then I just do it, you know? So
right,
I
right.
guess if someone would ask me, then I would give them the whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great way to use it. I mean, I think the results would be really hit or miss. Like I've seen some really weird, I can't think of any specific examples, but you know, every cook has their own way of doing things. So if I were like, hey, I have this, this, and this, what should I make out of it? It would come back to me and I might go, oh, yeah, that's okay. But then it might jar my like thoughts about, oh, I'm going to do it another way. Thanks for the idea, AI, but I'm going to do it another way. But I'm a chef. Like
Hmm.
that's literally what I do. So like that's
Hmm.
the part that I love and enjoy is putting all the ingredients together like that. And I think AI could be good for that, but I think it could also be super hit or miss too. But like
Hmm.
I said, it just goes back to being really specific, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
like just
for
really
sure.
telling it what you want out of it. I have these three ingredients, but I don't like this, and I want it to be ready in 20 minutes, type of thing.
Okay. So what would be three things people can do to simplify their their cooking? And I'm thinking of the people that get into their heads by saying like cooking is hard, cooking is time consuming, or just basically I don't know how to cook.
Right, right.
There's a little
I
kind of a
think,
mind food
yeah,
and what could I do with
yeah.
that?
The thing I always come back to, and this is what brought me back to cooking after
Hmm.
my big break, is really, and it's going to sound cliche, but it's always staying connected to your why, like why you're doing this, right? People get all up in their head because cooking is hard and cooking takes time and I don't have time and it's too much energy and I'm over, like all the reasons you're talking about why people get
Hmm.
overwhelmed. But if you're
Yeah.
able to kind of put all that aside for a second and remind yourself why you're doing this, there has to be a really specific why. Whether it's because I want to lose 20 pounds, or because I know this is the missing piece of my health, or I know that I have to get my A1C down because it's at a dangerously high level, or like just really staying connected, or I want my house to smell amazing because I want my kids to grow up in a house that has home cooked food in it. You know, like
Mm.
we all have a reason that connects deeply, that we can feel in our soul, especially as women. We all have that. And it's really like stripping it down and being like, okay, what is the thing that I always come back to? And that's where I start with the step to simplify. And it's not like an hands action type of step, like cut the onion type of thing, like, sure. But I really think that's where it always comes back to, especially if you're really struggling. You need to, I mean, I do this constantly. Like, oh, I don't feel like it. It's like, okay, what are your other options? Eat some crap or not eat any real food and then feel like junk and, you know, that watch my health
Yeah.
spiral downward. It's like, oh, right, right, right. Cooking is easy. It's way easier than having terrible health. And
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, I can get through this. And really just kind of starting where you are. You can have really simple things and not, that's another step I say for people is to start where you are. So a lot of times people are like, I'm going to cook healthy. And then they download like 42 recipes and they make this amazing
Oh
shopping
God.
list and they stick at it for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks. And then they're like, that was too much. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
hold the phone. Do one more thing this week. One more. Whether that's one meal, whether that's like just start one more. It's like the ladder, right? You go one more rung on the
Hmm.
ladder. You don't climb all the way to the top of the ladder in one go, right? You
Hmm.
start at that bottom rung and you start where you are. Okay. And then once you get the bottom rung into place, okay, it's a habit. I cook dinner on Tuesday nights now. Done. Fine. Maybe I can add Wednesday nights too. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. So just really starting where you are and going from there. Those are the two main things that I say, staying really connected to your why and starting where
Yeah,
you're at. Because
those are
we can
huge.
talk about like meal prep and planning and all that kind of stuff, and there are things that are helpful, but I also find that people have really different preferences when it comes to that. Some people like and need to prep everything on a Sunday. And that's great.
Hmm.
Like you spend some hours cleaning your produce, shopping, doing a lot, putting a ton of meals together. Awesome. Other people can't stand that. I'm one of those people that can't stand doing that. I will do very little prep. I'll wash a little bit of produce and jot down some meal ideas for the week, but I enjoy the process of relaxing when I'm cooking. So I'll come home and all my meals in the week are short. They're 30 to 45 minutes long. I come home,
Hmm.
but I already have sketched out what I'm going to do. I'm like, okay, I know I'm making this dish. I know it's super easy. I happen to wash this lettuce already, so it's ready to go. I'll make a quick dressing. I'll cook up some chicken or whatever it is, and dinner's ready in 30 to 45 minutes. But it felt
Hmm.
easier because I had thought about it beforehand. Like I think what
Mm.
feels overwhelming and hard is when you walk in your kitchen at 4:30 and you're like dinner and you have zero thought put into it at all. So it's not so much about the action necessarily, but think about it even for like 20 minutes before you have to go
Mhm.
into the kitchen. Whether it's 2 days before or at lunch that day, like, oh, what am I gonna make? Oh, I think I have some frozen shrimp in the freezer. Cool. I think there might still be a cucumber. Okay, okay, I'll do something like that. And then when you walk into your kitchen, you're just going. You're not trying to
Mhm.
like get really stressed out about what you do or don't know you have. So just giving it some thought beforehand, I think, is another really good step
So
in
it's more
that
about
for sure.
prepping your mind than actual prepping food.
Because
Yeah.
the food
And
prep, especially for these easy weeknight healthy meals that we want, they're not like rocket science, you know?
mhm.
It's really just
Yeah.
about getting yourself in the right space and remembering why you're doing this to
Hmm.
motivate yourself. Yeah,
Nourish your body because you want to have more energy to play with your children or
right.
just feel
Totally.
healthier and stop that knee pain or, you know, just feel better in your jeans, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So, okay.
Totally.
Yeah. So, one thing that I really enjoy when I have no clue what to eat is to just get things that I have out, like what I have in the refrigerator, I get it out. And then I think I've trained my brain enough to just start cooking and suddenly I have a full meal. I feel like it
Right.
happens like
Right.
that, but it's because I have
Right.
done it so much. Like I've prepped my brain that even when I have
Right.
no clue what I can do, I just start
Right.
cooking and then you have a
But you
meal.
somehow have that confidence to just start. I think that's a big part of it too. Like I think that people get stuck in their head. I watch my daughter do this. She's
Hmm.
17 and her job once a week is to cook dinner. As a kid, I taught her to cook all kinds of things. She's forgotten all of that. And one night a week, she goes into the kitchen and she's like, I have to cook. And I'm like, yes, you do. And she's like, what am I going to make? And I watch her spin out. She's like, well, this and that, and I don't know, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's something that you like? And she's like, I'm like, and I give her three options in the freezer. I'm like, we have some shrimp, we have some ground chicken, and I think there might be like a steak in there. She's like, okay. I'm like, so what do you think? What's in the fridge? She like looks, she's like, okay. And then 20 minutes later, she's like, chop, 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 blah, 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 and like putting it all together. But I watch her freak out about it because she says,
Yeah.
I don't know how to cook. I'm like, you do know how to cook. It's going to be okay.
Hmm.
So it's about just that confidence, like that first thing telling yourself, like, I can figure this out. It's just like anything in life, right? When you're
Right.
faced with something that feels like a challenge, it's like the first step is telling yourself you got this rather
Hmm.
than being like, oh, no, I don't got this. And then next thing you know, you're spiraling out over here. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I got this. I can cook something. And then then your brain calms down and you start being able to think. You're like, okay, I have frozen shrimp. And then you're like, things to make with frozen shrimp, and you're like, oh, okay, here's some ideas, here's some options. But when you go in just not like calm, that's where you can't
Hmm.
think and you can't think of what to do and just kind of spirals from there.
Prep
That's what I've
comes in.
observed.
Just prep that you are
Yes,
doing this
yes,
and that's it. You'll figure it out. That's I think that's a big one. Like if you can believe that you'll figure it out, even if you don't have a clue right now what you're gonna cook, just believing that you can
right.
figure it out will help you figure it out.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
know it sounds
So
funny, but
it is. It is. I remember, so I used to do makeup, and I remember sometimes I would be driving to a job, and this is like behind the camera, so they're calling for a certain look. And sometimes my husband would ask me, "Do you know what you're going to do?" And my answer was usually, "I don't know, but I have enough stuff. I'm sure I'll figure it out."
right, right.
So it's
Yeah,
that idea that you can.
yeah,
Uh,
totally.
and actually, it's I don't know. It turns out to be fun because you can get creative and stuff and
Yes.
just get that skill. All right, Aliya, is there
Yeah.
anything that you find important to spread the word on that we haven't touched on today?
Oh. Um, no, I think pretty much said everything. I just, like make the food you like to eat. That's all I gotta say. And that makes you feel good. Like, be
Mm.
honest with yourself about what actually makes you feel good. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, people don't want to let go of that comfort food or whatever, but it's like, how is that making you feel like all the way around? Like, it's comforting
Hmm.
in the moment, but then your stomach an hour later is like whining to you. Why did you eat that type of thing? Like, you know,
Hmm.
your body deserves to be treated well. And I think that's really a big part of the healthy thing. It's a act of self love, really, is
Yeah,
cooking the food that makes your
I
body feel
agree.
good. Yeah.
I agree. And it's beautiful when you have that relationship with your food. It is more satisfying, not just in your belly, but in your soul, in your mind, the idea of you and the idea of what you're giving to your family. It's just
Yeah.
this ripple effect that it becomes so beautiful. I just enjoy my
And
food
it's
more like that for
powerful
sure.
too. Yeah, it's powerful. Like it's a form of personal power to be able to nourish yourself, in a
Hmm.
way that like you do well, like yeah, just a form of personal power. And I think we don't lean into it enough in our
Yeah.
lives, honestly. We kind of take it for granted. We have so many options all the time
Hmm.
for food.
Overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, okay, tell us about how we can find you, where we can connect with you, and what
Yeah.
you're currently working on, anything that you want to offer to, well, the audience out there.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Soul Space Chef, and that's where I cook things. And you can see some of my talking head videos too about mindset and cooking habits and myths about cooking, all kinds of stuff like that. But I also have a solid amount of cooking recipe videos on there. I call it healthy comfort food. So it's a lot of Mediterranean-ish type stuff that's like light but filling and absolutely delicious. So that's a good place to find me there. Soul Space Chef on YouTube. And then
Mhm.
the other place, right now, let's see, I'm working on a quiz that's basically
Mhm.
about your cooking personality and kind of the kitchen
Hmm.
habits that are like blocking you, kind of the stuff I was talking about earlier, the habits that
Okay.
might be blocking you from getting the meals that you want type of thing. So at soulspacechef.com/quiz, you can take the quiz and then you'll get kind of a healthy cooking archetype or personality result. And you can kind of go from there. And with that is some follow up emails with some suggestions for things to cook and ways that you might help make cooking easier based upon your personality or your archetype. So that's a quiz that I'm working on now. Those are the two main things. I'm opening up my community again in a week or two. I have a community for women 40 plus. It's basically a healthy cooking community. So it's about the recipes and all that, but it's also about what I call the Vitality Method. It's called the Vitality Kitchen Club, and it's about understanding what you need to be eating at this time in your life for women over 40, some mindfulness practices to go along that, creating your own cooking and system and kitchen system that keeps those healthy meals coming. And then
Mhm.
also all about creating those flavors because I'm a chef.
Mhm.
Big space in my membership there. That's the simple stuff that you need to know to make your food taste really, really good
Amazing.
without going to culinary school. Just the basics
Yeah,
that you need to know.
very
So,
different
yeah.
environment. I mean, from what
Yes,
I've
that's a
seen on
different
TV and what
world.
I've heard from other shows.
It's a different world, but
All
there are
right.
some really simple things to know, do in your home kitchen that can make your food taste amazing with very little effort. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Aliye, thank you so much for your knowledge, your spirit, your energy, your time. This was very fruitful. I learned a lot, and I will put the links on the show notes, so whoever wants to go to your YouTube channel, take the quiz or whatever, it's gonna be on the show notes. So
Awesome.
check those out, and subscribe to Aliye's channel at Soul Space Chef. And
Thank
that is it
you.
for today. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope it brought you a boost to your day. If you don't want to miss what's next, hit subscribe and come along for the ride. See you next time.